Hi there. Today we are talking about leading for longevity staff retention in early childhood education. And my next slide is the revolving door. When it comes to the Australian early childhood education sector, there is something known as a revolving door, where the rate of this door has been turning and has been causing a lot of alarms to go off. In the current stage, the issue of staff retention has not only caused a headache for the administrative development departments of the institution in the sector, but has also become a massive reason for a direct fall in the quality of services being offered from the sector, and it is not only affect the quality but also directly affects the reciprocal relation, which is the very foundation. As such, I will now discuss that the most effective medium to close the revolving door happens to be effective leadership, and through the critical reflection on leadership, which has been backed by the theories and the National Quality Framework, I will try to explore the impact of intentional leadership for successful retention. Now we are heading to next slide. Impact of instability. The issue of staff retention has been one of the most impactful for the sector in the Australian ECE, as due to the high rate of turnover in the sector, children have to deal with a continued change in the familiar faces, which not only affects their learning process and development but also dismantles their sense of belonging, in line with the early years learning framework, which has placed a huge importance on secure, respectful, and reciprocal relationship as one of the main factors for holistic children's development. The constant change in the educators due to high rate of retention cause the crucial learning relationship to be broken before reaching desired stage, leading to emotional distress and also causing a halt in their learning journey. Within the service sector, the high rate of turnover means a direct hindrance to the capability as professionals to ensure the successful implementation of the national quality standards. Quality Area 4 Staffing Errors, especially Standard 4.1, which argues for proper staffing to ensure successful learning and development of the children, as the service fails to ensure proper staffing at the time. Furthermore, the constant need to bring in a new professionals go through the available resources but also hampers the overall team cohesion, making it even harder for the sector to have a collaborative and professional culture, which is a prerequisite of the Standard 4.2 Australian Children Education and Care Quality Authority. Now we are heading to the next slide. Leadership of a linchpin. In order to ensure a successful management of the issue at hand, it is necessary to have effective leadership, as effective leadership are not just capable of managing the staff but also ensure that there is proper strategic direction for the staff to follow and develop professional values which help motivate and create an effective team culture. Now we're heading to the next slide. Transformational leadership. Transformational leadership is one of the most important leadership models which can be implemented in the EC sector, as the model of leadership places a huge importance on the development of a shared vision, a creation of trust among peers, and motivational via use of instinctive commitments and opposed to extrinsic control. Leaders who abide by this approach utilize their capabilities to help develop a sense of purpose and see the value held by the work being done, ensuring excellent professional identity as well as job satisfaction. Now we are heading to next slide. And our next slide is distributed leadership. This model of leadership understands that expertise and agency are available at every level of organization. As such, the hierarchy which has been designed to control is not just necessary as one might think it is. As such, this model aims to turn leadership into a collective effort rather than a singular work by allowing the educators to lead their very own pedagogy. They appear in challenging situations and even contribute equally to the critical decision. As such, in the end, the staff are much more empowered and have developed a shared responsibility towards the organization and the sector as a whole, ensuring highlighted engagement and retention. Now we're heading to next slide, and our next slide is servant leadership. This approach to leadership is much more social culture oriented, as the idea is uh, heavily centered around empathy and well-being. As such, the leader takes on the role of an empathy facilitator who designates the barriers, ensure an ample supply of necessary resources, and allows the staff to grow into their best version, which are all key for sustained commitment to the cause and high morale in the ECE sector. Now we're heading to our next slide, and our next slide is critical reflection on practice. In order to become a perfect and effective leader in any role, it is necessary to be able to engage in deep reflection, to question the very assumption, and to show the possibility for as well as actual growth. As such, I wish to reflect on the leadership challenges the leadership had to overcome in leadership roles and show how I was able to grow both as an individual and a professional through those challenges. Based on the NQS elements 1.3.2, critical reflection of my personal experience would be follows. What happened? The high staff turnover led to a loss of skilled educators, causing the team morale to become low and a new balanced culture to develop. Why did leaders respond that way? Many believe in a reactive leadership approach rather than being proactive, ensuring there is no gap in the roster as opposed to looking for the main cause for a high turnover rates, as they believed that the staff had a potential vision which they could not control or change. Examine for different perspective. From the perspective of the leaders, many seem to be more focused on ensuring the service remains active and the cogs remain unturning. However, looking at the issue from the side of the educators, it is clear that they are undervalued and unheard, with not much aspiration, as the job turns into something like a rehearsed performance with no chance for personal expression, leading to burnout. Linking theory to practice, the leadership lacks transformation as it seems to be a transactional, being much more focused on ensuring the achievements of the operational needs rather than establishing a positive work culture, which is much according to the NQS Quality 7.2, as it ensures the professionals have a chance at continued development. Now we're heading to our next slide, and our next slide is linking to NQF. Quality area for staffing arrangement. The ECE service provider must always ensure the continuity of staff as mentioned in the quality area for particularly element uh, 4.1.2, which argues that every effort must be made for the children to experience a continuity to staff which is currently lacking in the sector. Now we're into our next topic, quality area 7, governance and leadership. The Standard 7.2 argues the effective leadership builds and promotes a positive organizational culture and professional learning continuity, which lists at the same time element 7.2.3 argues for efficient development of professional through proper planning and evaluation. And in the current situation, there are some organizations which are still lacking in this area due to the minimal investment in the sector. Now we're heading to our next slide, and our next slide is resource informed plan of action. And the first topic is adopt distributed leadership, promote mentorship, and shared responsibility. The first step would be the implementation of the distributed leadership model, and it will offer ample opportunity for the pedagogical leaders within the team to shine and also ensure that there are proper chances for them to engage in mentorship programs and help with them to uh, with the creation of an effective curriculum, which is adding their prayers. And our next topic is encourage critical reflection, regular reflective team meetings. Create and ensure proper scheduled team meetings where the educators are allowed to engage in critical reflection based on their practice with the help of their principles mentioned in the What is Critical Reflection resources handed out by the NQF and in line with the UILF Australian Government Department of Education. This will guarantee that there is a professional learning community in place where which welcomes new ideas and make the educator feel respected and stimulated. Now, now we are heading to our next topic. Our next topic is applies servant leadership, personalized professional development plans. And in this topic, there are like develop individual learnings and professional development plans aimed to the strengths and weaknesses of the educators, which also account for their professional goals. Using such a method will not only show a genuine care and respect for their educators, but will also guarantee investment for a long-term career, which can also help and create a sense of loyalty. Now we are heading to our last slide, and our last slide is conclusion. In summary, the revolving door poses a major challenge for the EC sector, which does act as a wall but is not something which cannot be climbed in its entirety. With the help of change in the leadership, mindset, and ideology, from the old managerial ways to a newer and engaging ways, a better environment for the educators to be a part of makes them value, increases job satisfaction, and increases retention. Thank you for my to representation.